The moment you announce that you're pregnant, something strange happens. Everybody has advice, even people you didn't ask. It can leave you feeling confused, overwhelmed, conflicted, or even doubting yourself. Don't get me wrong, advice is good, but when you get so much, so fast, and from almost anybody and everybody, it can start to get confusing. Hi, I'm Rohene. I'm a first-time mama through Fearless Birth. I share everything I know about overcoming fear around labor and birth and going into it feeling confident, prepared, and trusting in your own abilities. When I was pregnant, I often got really confused when person A said, get the epidural, and person B said, don't get the epidural. And I found it particularly hard because I was a first-time mom. I had never been through labor, I've never been through pregnancy, never been through birth. People tend to offer extra support when you're doing something for the first time. When you feel overwhelmed by all this advice, it doesn't mean that you're ungrateful for it. It means that you care about doing the right thing and the right thing for you. And there are many people and places from which you get advice. Family members, friends with strong birth stories, positive or negative, social media, even people you don't ask, and even strangers. I had a neighbor once who I spoke to maybe twice in all my life, and as I was doing my evening walk when I was pregnant, very casually told me to take the epidural and not to have a natural physiological birth, which was what I was going for. And yeah, very convincingly, and told me that his wife was not able to tolerate it and she felt much better when she got the epidural. That advice made me feel really unsure about having a natural physiological birth, and it honestly made me a bit fearful. And after going home, I really had to work on my beliefs around it and what matters to me and what I want to do, rewiring my own belief in my abilities to have a natural physiological unmedicated birth. And this is what I've understood. Advice is almost always based on somebody's experience of that. It's not based on your body, your pregnancy, your circumstances, your context. It's always based on theirs. So take all advice, including mine, which I share through this channel, with a grain of salt. Take everything from a contextual lens. Keep in mind that everybody's context is different to yours. A friend told me this really amazing analogy. It's like a buffet. You take in what you want based on your taste and your liking and leave the rest as it is. So why too much advice can sometimes be unhelpful? It's because birth advice can often be outdated. It can be fear-based and it can be based on somebody's experience. So if you're not listening to a professional birth educator, I would take everything they said, keeping my context and their context in mind. When you get too much advice, it can start to create anxiety in you. You can start disconnecting from your own instincts because you no longer know what's right from wrong, or you no longer know what suits you and what doesn't. When you take everybody's advice, it becomes harder for you to hear yourself, hear what you like and don't like. So how do we know which advice we should actually listen to? With every advice, apply these 3 filters and ask these 3 questions. Is the advice evidence-based? So does that come from a place of education, or does it come from simply being an opinion? Does this advice align with my values? Your values around whether you want a unmedicated birth, your values around your environment, what you value in the support you receive. So what are your values when it comes to your labor and your birth? And does this align with the advice that I'm receiving? So for instance, in my example, the advice I received was take the epidural because natural physiological birth is very painful. It was very opposite to what I valued, which is I wanted an unmedicated, completely natural birth. So that advice I shouldn't take because it didn't align with what I wanted to go for. Thirdly, and very important, does this advice make you feel calmer, or does it make you feel more afraid? The way you feel about an advice, it's telling you something big about what you value. So any advice that increases fear within you deserves to be questioned. Take advice from those people whose outcome you want. So if you want an outcome of a natural, unmedicated birth, I am not going to go for advice to somebody who has had a C-section. If my goal is to go for a C-section, I'm not going to go for somebody who's had a natural, physiological, unmedicated birth. If that is, you want a positive birth experience, don't listen to people who are telling you their birth experience was horrible and negative. It's just going to mess up with your mind. And this takes me to the most important thing you can do is education. Educating is empowering. Educating doesn't mean that you want to control every outcome and you want to know everything about everything that's out there. It's about coming from a place of empowerment that, okay, I know enough to know what's going on. Just know enough so that you know what is right for you and you know how to respond to something when something is not right for you. Education gives you context. It helps you understand more on the pros and cons of having a physiological birth, of the pros and cons of having a C-section. It just is giving you information. It's not telling you one is better than the other. It's just giving you in plain sight what this does and doesn't. And it helps you understand why advice even exists in the first place, why people have so much advice. It's because there is a lot of things that can happen in labor. And when you understand what are these different things that happen and how they normally happen, it helps you to choose your advice and not just follow everything blindly. When you know more about something, you're less fearful about it. And the less you know about something, the more fearful you're about it. It's just how your body and mind works. And confidence in your abilities, confidence in your labor and how your labor is unfolding comes from understanding what's happening. If you go into it completely blank, you will tend to hear what everybody is telling you because you actually don't know what's going on. And then it's going to get harder for you to decipher right from wrong or helpful versus unhelpful. Lastly, and this can go for anyone giving you advice, you don't owe anybody access to yourself. Don't have to explain your choices. You don't have to try everything that's being suggested because protecting your mental space is also part of your preparation for an empowering and a positive birth. Not every opinion deserves a place in your pregnancy. So tell me, what is the most confusing piece of advice that you've heard? I would love to know. Please drop it in the comments below. Thank you. See you next time.